Good morning, I'm Madeline Lewis with ABC Hunter News. The Greater Hunter is among several regions across New South Wales with a total fire ban in place today. Romy Stevens reports.
The Royal Fire Service has declared an extreme fire danger for the region today, with temperatures expected to reach the low to high 30s and winds getting up to 35 kilometres per hour. There are 8 regions across New South Wales with a total fire ban in place. Central Coast, Lake Macquarie, Muswellbrook, Newcastle and Port Stephens council areas are among those impacted. It comes after dozens of properties south of Goolgong in the Central West were saved yesterday after a fire got to the emergency level, but it's been downgraded to advice overnight.
Fans will be able to continue celebrating the Newcastle Knights NRLW Grand Final win with a civic reception to be held this afternoon. Bridget Murphy reports.
The Knights made history on Sunday, winning a second straight NRLW Grand Final against the Gold Coast Titans. They were trailing by 6 points in the 60th minute before fullback Tamika Upton scored 2 tries to secure the win, 24 points to 18. A civic reception will be held this afternoon at City Hall to mark the team's success and give fans a chance to meet the players. Second rower Yasmin Clydesdale says the support that's built up since last year is huge.
Newcastle's a town that is rugby league town, and I feel like we just have the best supporters in the world.
The reception will start at 4:30 p.m.
Lord Mayor Nuatali Nelms says it's a proud moment for the whole city.
I am just thrilled for the city, for the Knights women's team. I was very confident that they would go back to back, but that game with the lead changing, but honestly, we can see why Tamika Upton was a Dally M winner this year.
A pedestrian has died after being hit by a car at Halloran on the Central Coast. Police say the man, believed to be in his 80s, was struck around 7:30 last night and died at the scene. The 49-year-old male driving the car was arrested after a roadside breath test. He's been taken to Wyong Hospital for further testing. Fire and Rescue New South Wales says crews extinguished multiple fires in the Hunter early this morning after cars had been set alight. Firefighters were called to Curry, Wallsend and Sandgate between 2:30 and 5 a.m. to find cars on fire at each location. One was in bushland, while another spread to nearby grassland. A spokesperson told the ABC there are reports people in Curry witnessed a car being set on fire by 2 people before they drove away. The Reserve Bank is expected to keep interest rates on hold for a 4th consecutive month later today. Sam Wilkinson reports.
Today's meeting of the Reserve Bank Board will be the first with Michelle Bullock as governor. Under the former governor, Philip Lowe, the bank kept rates on hold at 4.1% for July, August and September, but warned it was still keeping a close watch on inflation. The market expectation for today is a 93% chance of no change. Independent economist Chris Richardson says it should stay on hold today, but that opinion is divided about the rest of the year.
Most economists think that we're either at the top or maybe one more rate rise.
The Reserve Bank will reveal its decision at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Early voting centres will open today in New South Wales for the Voice to Parliament referendum. Anyone unable to physically vote at an early polling booth or on October 14 is encouraged to apply for a postal vote. There are no trains running between Morisset and Wyong this morning due to overhead wiring repairs at YE. The Transport Management Centre says replacement buses are being organised but are not yet on site. Passengers are being advised to allow plenty of extra travel time or consider alternative transport. And the Rugby League Koori Knockout has wrapped up for another year on the Central Coast. Mary Louise Vince has the details.
Thousands turned out for the finals at Tuggerah yesterday, which saw Walgett Aboriginal Connection crown the men's champions, winning 22-12 over Wiradjuri Aboriginal Rivers. Dalian medalist Ben Barber says taking home the trophy means everything.
I'm ecstatic. I didn't even cry like this when I won an NRL Grand Final.
Meanwhile, in a nail-biting women's final, the Newcastle Yowies clinched the title over Redfern All Blacks 13-12 in Golden Point time. Knights player Caitlin Moran scored the winning goal just 24 hours after Newcastle clinched the NRLW Premiership on Sunday.
Sunny in the Hunter today. A gale warning for the Hunter Coast has been issued. Newcastle heading for a top of 34 degrees. Maitland and Singleton 36.
Morning, Ian Crouch with your 6:30 Hunter News update. The Greater Hunter region is bracing for extreme fire conditions with a total fire ban in force today. Temperatures have tipped to reach the mid-30s, coupled with north to northwesterly winds gusting up to 30 kilometres per hour. Inspector Ben Shepherd from the Rural Fire Service says it's crucial people are aware of the fire risk in their area.
Jump on the RFS website, make sure you're aware of where they are, and please adhere to those rules. It is the school holidays. We understand that people are spread around the state. We need them to understand the risks of the area that they may be visiting as well.
There have been several bush and grass fires in the region overnight. All are listed as being under control, including 2 in the Stroud and Dungog areas, which have burnt through more than 600 hectares. Early voting is now open for Hunter residents in the upcoming Voice referendum after public holidays delayed the service launching on the same day nationwide. For those who are eligible to vote before the official referendum date, pre-polling can be found online at the Australian Electoral Commission website. Evan Eakin-Smith from the AEC says if you can vote on the 14th of October, you should.
But there's many people who are eligible for an early vote for a range of reasons. You might have a surgery scheduled, you might be due to go into labour perhaps, you might be travelling. There's a range of reasons, and if you can't be there on the 14th, well, you've got a 2-week period to cast an early vote.
Local not-for-profit What Were You Wearing has partnered with the University of Newcastle to raise awareness among Hunter residents about sexual assault. It's hosting Australia's first victim survivor fashion show at the university's gallery space this week. Founder Sarah Williams says they're hoping to break down some misconceptions young people might have about sexual assault and violence.
It's always quite sad. There's lots of tears, crying, to realizations that actually they see themselves. Potentially it's clothing that they've worn or a story that depicts their age or characteristics. But we always get people who then feel like they've been heard and seen, and then they decide to share their stories.
Tickets are free for victim survivors and students, with the exhibition being shown on Friday and Saturday this week. Residents in the Hunter who work in noisy jobs and environments are being warned about the risk of occupational-related hearing loss during National Safe Work Month. Figures reveal it's one of the most common but preventable workplace injuries, with around 1.1 million workers exposed to hazardous noise. Principal audiologist at Hearing Australia, Karen Hirschhausen, says workers in a number of industries are at high risk.
People living in rural and regional areas are actually more likely to have hearing problems compared to those living in the cities. Research suggests that hearing loss amongst farmers and agricultural workers is pretty widespread, and that 65% of farmers between the ages of 15 and 75 have a hearing loss, and almost 50% of farmers report tinnitus, which is a ringing in your ears.
Hunter locals are being encouraged to walk, ride or run their way to a personal target in kilometres, raising funds for the Westpac Rescue Helicopter Service. The funds raised will support the service to reach those needing urgent medical help in the region. Kylie Ferrugia from the Westpac Helicopter Service says locals can make their pledge online.
The Base Space Challenge is a physical activity challenge that takes place throughout the month of October, and we're encouraging participants to walk, ride, roll or run to help raise awareness and funds for the Westpac Rescue Helicopter.
The triumphant Newcastle Knights NRLW side will be given a civic reception at City Hall this afternoon. The Knights women achieved back-to-back premierships on Sunday with a 24-18 win over the Titans. Members of the public are invited to attend the free event from 4:30 p.m.
To NURFM Sport.
The Jets have signed defender Natasha Pryor for the upcoming A-League women's season. The 25-year-old previously played for the Jets in 2017 before moving to Canberra and Sydney FC. Newcastle will kick off their season on October 14 against rivals Central Coast Mariners. Knights fullback Tamika Upton has set her sights on notching a much-anticipated Gillaroos debut. The 26-year-old declared herself available for the Australian team selection after helping lead Newcastle to back-to-back NRLW titles. Upton says the grand final victory over the Titans was the toughest football match of her career, but rates it as one of her favourites. And Maitland Premiership winning stars Sam Carlo and Mick Taylor will represent New South Wales country when they face Queensland country in the third-place Australian Rugby Shield playoff. And now you're up to date with the latest 2NURFM Hunter News.